Hello everyone, so welcome back to some more M.A.S.S Builder. We're going to be going ahead and messing around with this today purely because I want to see how the new changes affect the game. There have been some updates and I just really want to see how this works now. There's been tuning to enemies to make them more aggressive, less spongy. We've got some updates to the weapons and how they work. So we're going to go ahead here and try some very hard and see how the enemies react to my suit here. So I'm taking Limitless Mark III out for a spin again. Apparently, the way that targeting works now is it's slightly changed. So we'll see how this works. Right, let's see. We've got a couple of weapons here. We've got the beam gatling. Okay, let's see how enemies do here, because they should be a little bit more aggressive on very hard. And less spongy. I'm not sure I'm seeing it at the moment. Actually, I am from the bigger ones. The smaller ones, not so much. Ah, can I? Okay, so that's immediately better. The left thumbstick, now, as I said before, to them actually allows you to switch between, not the left thumbstick, sorry, the right thumbstick allows you to switch between targets. The bigger ones here, they don't feel so bad to smash against with a hammer now. L2 to investigate, that's a weird choice. It used to be right stick down. Maybe that didn't work for him so well. Okay, let's see how this works here. So I'll use the beam rifle or the sour here. Let's... How's it? Okay, the lock-on's weird now. I'm used to having to press in to lock on, but instead it resets. That is weird. Can we not... Okay, so it auto-locks when you're firing, but for melee, there's no lock-on system as such. It kind of auto-locks, and then when you're not in combat, you're allowed to move around your enemies. I mean, that's fine. It's really weird to get used to. Best thing I can do here really is try this out in large-scale combat, because at the moment I'm trying... It says like it locks on to where you're facing. I'd rather it be the manual lock-on system, and then I'm actually able to take it off if I want and look around myself, because at the moment it kind of feels as though I'm not really in control when I'm trying to move the camera around. There's like some sort of disconnect between me and what's going on here. It's really, really weird. Phoenix says, grim. No, they're not grim. Everybody's been saying that. Okay, let's try shooting again, because I'm going all in with melee here, and I'm missing out on portions of this where it's like I really need to check out how it works with everything. I wonder how it's going to work with missiles? Let's see how this works here. Did you snag the Recon Zaku yet? No, I didn't. Okay, so the left... I said the left again. The right stick allows you to kind of... It felt like it allowed you to flick through enemies. We still get the manual targeting with the micro missiles here. But say I'm looking over here. Does that... It's not locking onto the boss from range now? Do I have to shoot him first before it'll lock on? Yeah, that feels kind of weird. I feel like I should be able to manually lock onto him without having to... Like, with missiles, without having to trigger it by shooting at him first. Kind of feels a little bit counterintuitive. And because L2 isn't reload now, that's kind of jarring. What what is reload here? That's what happens when you change the basic controls that you're used to. So reload is now X. Why was X made? I'm pressing X? Oh yeah, it's because I've got no ammo. That's a really weird choice. Zero says, what is that purple? Oh, the purple guy. He's a boss. I can see the AI trying to be aggressive here. I'm gonna have to do a large-scale fight and see what's going on. So, I can kind of flick between units by the look of it. With the right stick, it's not entirely clear. It's like it says you auto-lock in the direction you're facing, right? So I can use the right stick to kind of move between enemies, but sometimes it's not done that. It's weird. X to reload is a really weird choice as well. Like, I can't now manually lock on one target without shooting at it first with a rifle or something before I shoot my missiles off. So that's... Like, these changes are jarring. They're going to be jarring when you get a new build. But that's weird. Let's try meleeing these guys. This boss feels a little bit more aggressive, or rather his attack patterns feel like they've been sped up a little bit. These little guys, though, they can't keep up with me, so... Oh, jeez. Yeah, this definitely feels like it's been changed a little bit. Like, there. I can't really target them properly. By the look of it. That is weird. I'm not so sure about this. Like, my idea for this was to be able to manually target. Are those missile pods on a stick? No. Hey, jump. This is really weird. Like, he's... Ah, he killed me. Okay, so at least the frame rate issue isn't there now. Now, the question is, do we get the ability to jump out here once we're done? They said, like, they just clear it and then it goes. Right, so can we... Is there not a button to... No, there's still not a button to abort here, which is... It's kind of weird. I say kind of weird, I'm just expecting it by now. He's vomiting purple. No, it's his laser weapon thing. So this is jarring, to say the least. You know, these changes are something that I did not expect. I like the way that they're actually getting on with this now. And updating things as we go, but that was weird. Let's upgrade here a little bit, and then we'll jump back in on very hard. At Moody Days, a hotfix incoming, says Haku. Wait, is this Ultra Magnus? No. It's weird. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's the only way I can describe it. Let's see. I was gonna upgrade. I think I'm trying to remember what I was even gonna do for upgrading here now. It's kind of thrown me off. Screw the upgrades. Let's just go very hard here. This is throwing me completely. Okay, let's head out. Rumia, what do you think about the updates? Cause I'm not entirely sure. Like, the aiming thing is a bit weird. Like, I liked the ability to manually lock or unlock, kind of like Gundam Breaker. But now it's like, if I don't shoot something, I don't lock on. Like, I can switch targets with the right stick, like we said, kinda. Then once I've killed an enemy, it doesn't automatically target the next one like it claims it does. You have to kind of... You have to hit one first. Because if that works like that, it's kind of awkward. They didn't seem too aggressive there, but then again, this isn't one of those large fighting areas. Oh, come on. I like the fact that we're actually getting these updates really early on. It's just the whole deal with... Like, there, at the moment, I'm not locked on even though I'm facing that direction. I understand, because otherwise I'd be all over the place with the hammer. If I... Yeah, I can't... Oh, there we go. Now it auto-locks. That's... So how does it do it, then? Like... That's weird. Trying to figure out how this game works is weird now. Just smashing this guy in the face with a hammer. Like, I liked the Z sort of lock-on thing that was going on with, like, the Z targeting from Zelda in it. I like that because you could always keep an eye on the thing that you were aiming at, and you could kind of strafe around and get a good view of the battlefield. Now it's kind of like you can only see what's in front of you. And you can kind of do it, but it's not as easy to do. Oh. Okay, so these are... They feel less spongy at least, the enemies. Let's go over that. What types of beam sabers are there? I can make them. I can make quite a few of them. It's not so much that I can turn around and be like, oh, there's definitely this and that. There's a short and a long, and then I can change them. I wish they'd edit this this cutscene a little bit. The spline is weird. I need them to fix that spline. It's only a small thing. Gonna have to go over this and like do some proper research and put it possibly in video format and just be like, guys, this is what I think should be happening here. I like the way they've fixed some of the localization issues as well. They even mentioned that was a bit of a problem on the site. Okay, what? Oh. The missile travel time, I think, has increased slightly. I'm not 100% sure on it. Let's try... when it's following an enemy at range like that, I'm not too sure. I think they might not have increased that yet. These guys are definitely more aggressive, though. It's probably going to be a bit more obvious in group combat like this. But at least they actually feel a little bit more like a threat. Ooh. Hope you guys are alright there, by the way. Hope the sound's alright. It's jarring not having L2 as reload here, because I was so used to having the reload being there. Just having it as X feels really weird. Whom has summoned me, says Griffin. Hey, Griffin. Okay, so these guys, ooh, still feel a bit spongy. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not doing enough damage. Because the thing is, people forgot... Yeah, I can't lock on there until... The lock-on for that is still a bit weird. The thing that people were forgetting was, because it's an early build, and because we don't have all the upgrades, or access to all the upgrades, what was happening was, you weren't doing enough damage because you were doing later missions with, like, bare bones stuff. I can't... See, that's the problem with targeting. The previous build would have been able to target that fine. That one was having trouble. You know, it's just like, oh, where is he? I'm like flailing around, trying to lock on. I still think that should be manual. Like, right stick down to lock on, right stick off again, so it's toggleable. So you can toggle on and off. And then just the ability to either free move the camera like this, or when you have it, you can use the right stick again. I keep getting left and right stick mixed up here. Right stick down to toggle on, and right stick off to free move the camera, and then move the camera around with the right stick to target different enemies. That would be a lot better. Basically like Gundam. Hey Zero! Didn't catch the playback of the other M.A.S.S Builder stream, says Griffin. Did you build Death Scythe? Yeah, what I've got is the individual suits that I've made are actually going up over the next few days. So today we had the Strike go up as an individual video. Tomorrow's the Freedom, then the Destiny. So in another 4 days' time, you'll be able to see an individual video dedicated to Death Scythe. But just as a little teaser here, this is in order as well. So today we had the Strike. Tomorrow we've got the Freedom. Then we got the Destiny the day after. Then we've got Wing, Death Scythe, which I still like the way that looks, and then Heavy Arms. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to build next. Let's take Freedom out for a spin, because he's going to be next on the card. We'll try Freedom in the next area here, because I want to try one of these larger scale battles. Let's try the desert area. I did this the other day. Can't even wait for me to be home, says Benny. Rude! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So let's see how Freedom does with this update. Because before it was really easy to lock on to stuff and take things out. Resident says, oh yeah, very amazing and spectacular mech game. I'm just hoping that the updates that they do are going to continue being good. Okay, so we got the dual beam sabers. Now these should be more aggressive, so I should be having more problems with them. Okay, so if I want... Yeah, the lock-on for enemies now is awkward, because I'm trying to lock on to them and take them out in a group, but because I can't see behind me, I'm getting hit more. I don't know whether that was a way of ramping up the difficulty, but it definitely makes things a little bit more awkward with melee weapons. I don't like that. John says, I'm confused as usual. John, basically, they've updated everything, and now the game works differently. So I'm basically going over it and seeing how different it is. I want the customization of armor parts in GB3 and M.A.S.S Builder, says Resonance. I don't remember the Destiny having red colours on its shoulder. I'm trying to remember. Because I was looking at previous like artwork and stuff when I built it. I can't remember what was going on with it. I love the way those shots don't actually connect though. I wish that would... the travel time of that was faster so we could actually hit things with it, but then it'd be like a 100% hit rate. Yeah, this is really weird. If I don't shoot something first, I can't lock on. The one thing that makes this jarring as well is reload is also melee. I think that's what's throwing me, because it had a dedicated button for reload. I know when you're not using it, when you're not using melee, then it's reload, but it's kind of jarring. Isn't the two versions of the Destiny and the Freedom Gundam, says John? There's the Impulse, and then the Destiny, and then there's the Freedom and the Strike Freedom. Did you see the new development tree changes? No, I did not. I'll have to have a look. At least we're still able to actually get in combat and do damage. And these definitely feel a little bit more aggressive, that make me dance around a lot more. But I would really love to be able to just keep an eye on everything like I used to be able to. Like, before I used to be able to, when I was circle strafing around things. Or rather Z-targeting, like on Zelda, I used to be able to like this, see all of the battlefield. But now it just feels, I don't know, a little bit jarring. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Basically, if I want to target now, I've got to shoot something first and then move around. I wish I wasn't boosting into the enemy as well. That's one thing. I'm like pressing right and trying to boost away, and instead it's boosting straight into it. No, this isn't strike freedom. Requires a lot more materials now, says Benny. Why? It already required a lot of materials and money in the first place? Change those red colours on Destiny's shoulders or face a fallen colony laser that's about to fight. Wait, what? Oh, I see. Yeah, but why would I do that? Because, like, basically, if I change the red, I don't get one of the other details, if I remember rightly. I'll have to look into it, because of the artwork and everything. I'll pull the artwork up in a bit and see why I did that on the Destiny. I got a railgun here. Oh. I finished the double X earlier today. It's interesting. It's my first X Gundam kit, says Resonance. Giant double satellite cannon. Azio says, my feeling of the new patch, the lock-on and melee doesn't seem to function properly. Yeah. That's what I've been trying to nail down, says Azio. You get stuck on enemy collision boxes easier. Yeah, I feel like melee worked better in the other version, but this is what happens when they kind of grab feedback and then try and jump on it immediately and try and implement quick changes. We're going to get some jarring ones that don't work well. So keeping track of how things work and change is going to be a little bit better. Like there now, because you're boosting towards the enemies at the same time, you get stuck on them way too easier. The lock-on system, the way that it works, I have to, yeah, look at that. I'm trying to go left, but instead, I'm going towards. I don't know who decided that was a good idea, but I'm actually getting stuck on boxes a lot more now. I mean, I do like the enemy AI changes, don't get me wrong about that, but the boosting towards enemies with melee like that, I want the ability to just choose whichever direction I want. It felt way better in the original. I already had some problems with the lock-on system before, so it's pretty weird to me. You have to be grounded to lock and unlock. Wait, what? So if we're in the air, we can't do it? Hang on. Where's some enemies? Let's try this out. I'm going to end up dead here. Right, so what we're saying is I can't... Oh, it's because I can't shoot in mid-air, so I can't lock. That is... Wait a minute. Yeah, I can't... It says it automatically targets if you shoot in mid-air. Yeah, because you have to be grounded to lock. That is weird. What if I want to change my target in mid-air? And I can't lock on now because... The original lock-on system was at least better, and the way that the movement system worked for melee was a lot better. Melee just felt a whole lot better. I don't like this build. It's weird. It's a really weird build. I mean, playing like another 10 hours of this, I'm going to get used to it, but... You can see you're messing around in mid-air when you're trying to shoot, because... If you are locked onto something, you can shoot in the air. Yeah, when you try and get and you're not locked on, that's when it messes up. So the lock-on system is broke then, basically. I like the way that these enemies are way more aggressive. Like this boss guy, he was trying to get in range. Whoa, that... Did you... Guys, did you just see that projectile? That fire projectile just disappear? That was weird. Yeah, my mech is like trying to fire, but can't really in midair. It's weird. It's like if you've already jumped when you during the jump arc, it's hard to fire. I'm like trying to mess around there. I like the ability to change targets with the right stick. That's all I really wanted. That's all he really needed to do with it. You know, you allow the player to manually lock by pressing the stick down or toggling it off if they want with the stick down, and then you use the right stick to move between targets. Because Gundam does exactly the same thing. Instead of like the stick though, they use it as R1, and R1 is manually target. Griffin says, I want the ability to dual wield. I'm waiting for the jump animations to be fully complete before... Oh, it's waiting for the jump animations to be fully complete before it shoots. Hang on, so we reached... It is as well. That's... No, I'm reaching the height of my jump here and pressing, and it's not... I'm only pressing once and it's not doing it, but if I spam the controls... Then it's doing it. Ah, that's because I'm locked on and it... That's weird. That is really weird. This one's jarring, to say the least, because the first build felt like it just worked, to quote Todd Howard, in a non-ironic sort of way. It just worked and it was really good. This, on the other hand... This is weird. I hope they do like a hotfix for this or something. Because they should be able to roll back certain parts. I imagine they'd be able to roll that back and then just add the toggle feature. I switched all my controls back to normal and it works great for me, says Benny. I mean, let's see if we can do that. Because they changed stuff by default here, so... Right, so we got booster R2, melee attack. Oh crap. Options. Can we edit this on the fly? Melee attack, X. What about reload? Where's reload? Gun reload. Why is it bound to that? That's strange. Close combat weapon. Yep. Cycle. Okay. Ah, there we go. Target unlock. I wonder if I change this to... If I change this to, like, Gundam Breaker stuff, whether that would work. Like, if I just reset everything for a moment. So, boosters, R2 is okay. Melee, X, yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to think of how I would edit this so that it's a little bit more like Gundam. I'm gonna have to... Why was that changed, actually? I just noticed that then. It's changed in the build. Like, if I go back here now... Okay, that's... Yeah, X is still reload. Has that been... What's unlock here? Unlock target, L2. I don't know why it was taken off. Okay, so we can... I did, like, the most stupid thing ever here, and didn't check to see whether we could unlock and then target again. Like, that was me moaning for ages. Thanks for that, Benny. Have they said a specific game they took inspiration from? No. Okay, so if we unlock now, yeah, that's fine. The problem is we can't manually lock again. Okay, so let's try melee here. Like, we should be able to just lock there, but instead it's not. It has to be fire first. I'm getting confused here because of all the stuff being changed. Okay, so if I'm hitting this guy now, and I want to move... that's weird. It needs to ideally be the same button. Have encounter when drop item drop on top of the hill on mission 8. You cannot auto loot Or fly over it, says Hyperion. Huh. I'm gonna have to see whether having breaker style controls on this or just switching them back to what I knew later on is gonna be better. Because you want lock and unlock to be on the same button, really. Down would be good, is it? Like a melee or something? I'm gonna have to possibly map stuff. I'll go over a video or something about mapping here, because it seems like mapping is going to be one of the key issues for this build at the moment, and once it's done, then I can properly experience it a little bit better, because I've basically spent like 30 minutes complaining about the controls when I can easily change them, which is really stupid of me. Other changes, like the lock-on system, when I fix the controls, maybe that'll be fine. The thing is, it's weird how they changed the controls between builds by default. That's the one thing I have a problem with. They changed the default controls between builds, because I didn't touch anything. And as a result, it's just thrown me like crazy. Let's go mission here. It's also quite weird that you have a dedicated melee button, but it doesn't auto-swap to your melee. You still have to use it to manually swap weapons. Huh. Let's try... I know this one was incredibly hard, so let's try very hard here. Benny says, "You're welcome, man." Yeah, cheers for that, Benny. You know, I'm not so sure about the whole control thing at the moment. I'll change it up later and possibly mess around with it. I've got to actually go on Breaker and then map out what the controls are and compare them to this. Or just change these to default ones, if I can. Could you make, says Taylor Smith, I know this game is a far cry from my personal ideal, but I kind of like the custom mech game and a mix between Zionic Front and Front Mission, says Devicia. Right, let's... This is going to get ridiculous because of the aggressiveness of the AI. So let's see if this works. Could you make maps based on Ruby characters? Yes, I responded to that comment the other day saying I was going to do it. Oh. At the moment, I'm just doing the patch, and oh god, that was a bit crazy. So for melee, it should really auto-target whatever is incredibly close to you if it was going to do anything to help there, because it was locking onto stuff in the background. I know you can like unlock and then lock back on here, but having no lock on in melee is severely jarring. And why are they immune? Oh, it's because the Void Crystal. I forgot this one has Void Crystals, so if I get them far enough away from it... There we go, now they're not immune. I like the way that the enemies... Wait, what? Why are they immune over the other side of the map? What's strange too is the previous build melee could lock on while airborne. Huh. Microcontroller 2 takes 89 Udinium and 124 steel and 94 residue plus your credits. Oof! Why has the Void Crystal got so much range here? It's like basically you can't go anywhere on the map without them being immune. Are they still immune though? What? Oh, now this guy isn't? What is going on? Like, you'd think the further they were away from the crystal, that they wouldn't be immune, because it was like that in the previous one. You could take them over the other side of the level, and they would not be immune because they'd be out of the radius of the Void Crystal. Now there's this one guy following me, and enemies are getting stuck on collision there, I think. No, they're not. They're just moving incredibly slowly. Okay, so there's another crystal there now. More grinding now, says Benny. Good job on doing these videos, because every time I do one, I'm getting a load of stuff and not using it now that I've got like 99% of the parts. Might as well just use the missiles on the Void Crystal. The slight frame rate drop that I never had here before. That is... Is it because of how much stuff is on screen? I think it might be. I've destroyed that Void Crystal, but these guys... Oh, I was going to say they're still immune. They're apparently not now. Do these guys have LODs? The frame rate issue might be because they're not switching to the low LODs. Because with the amount of stuff on screen, you'd expect the stuff in the background to be like really low res, but it kind of doesn't look like they have... Hang on. Do they not have LODs here? It doesn't look like it. If I go in the background, it still looks as if they're rendering them at max res. I can't see any significant changes like you'd see with other games there. That is... I could be wrong about that. Because the only things we've got on screen, really, are bits of scenery, some emissive effects. That doesn't look like a GPU particle in the background, so that shouldn't be lowering frame rate. So it should just be the amount of models on screen. That is weird. I feel you. There are extra videos. My videos are slightly different. A lot of extra grinding off camera. I've not been doing grinding off camera. I've just been... Like, the only thing that I've done off camera is build stuff. And that's about it. Okay, so we can turn that down. That hammer is crazy, says T-Josh Gaming. It's a double hammer. It's not just one hammer, it's two on the same thing. So we should be able to get rid of this crystal now, but we've still got low frame rate. I haven't seen any differing LOD models in this game so far. Also, things like Fogger AA tank stuff horribly. Yeah. I mean, I've got this on the highest setting, I think. You'd expect them to have LODs so that the frame rate would stay smooth. For anyone who doesn't know, when I'm on about LODs, it's layer of, or level of detail models. Normally they swap them out at long range so that the frame rate stays consistent. And I'm not seeing any of that. There's no, like, signature sort of, this looks like a box at range and then looks smoother as you get closer. Instead, it's just like, it just looks the same at range. Which is really bad for frame rate, because it means they're always rendering out the same model. And as a result, what you end up getting is really low performance out of it, even if you do have a decent rig. When the game fully comes out, you won't lose all that stuff. Or won't you lose all the stuff to grind? I'm hoping not. Yeah, Dave's quick school of explaining LODs there. At least it doesn't drop frame rate like crazy when you die there, and I like the way that they're more aggressive. It just means you have to actually try a little bit harder to kill them. The problem is, without the lock-on for melee, it is a little bit awkward. Can you auto-lock by pressing L2 when something's close? Kinda. And then thing is, it should lock on to stuff closer and where you're looking, but instead it was locking onto stuff in the distance there. Oh. Yeah, it's locking onto wrong things now. It shouldn't do that. What are those floating things? They're like little turrets. Gunnar says, nice, bro. This is all kinds of weird. Well, some of the effects or settings may not be implemented, says Azure. Might be eating up or using more resources than it should reasonably be. Maybe. Yeah, it's locking on. Yeah, so what it's doing is, wherever the mech is facing, not where you're actually looking, that's where it's locking on. So if I yeah, so if I'm... No, wait a minute. No, I'm trying to get this lock-on system. If I face that way, it locks on there. If I face this way... So is it working off the mech or what? Doesn't seem to be. It's more the crosshair. If it was the mech, I'd be facing the other side of the level by now. So let's try... If I face right... This is weird. I'm not quite sure how it works, whether it's the crosshair or not. How do you make the weapons glow? Emissive textures at the bottom. The only time I really ever pay attention to lob models in games that are already so low poly, losing more is very jarring. This is Devicia. Whoa, what happened there? There was like an instant where I boosted and I went off screen. The character should never be off, or the mech should never be off screen, because then you don't know what's going on. Looks like it's not working on depth or at the same time, says Azure. When you get a soft lock on an enemy, it's extremely sticky and refuses to go to a new target. It's weird. Really jarring. Guys, you need a hotfix! You need a hotfix for this! I'm gonna have to try different controls later on and see what Benny says, if that's any better. Because I thought we were doing really good with the basic build. The basic build was solid. There wasn't too much wrong with it. It just needed that, like, for me, the basic build just needed the English fixing a little bit. The enemy's less spongy and a little bit more aggressive. And the lock-on system to just be implemented so that well, it was already implemented, but it just needed an extra function so you could go left and right and switch between enemies if you wanted. This is just weird. Like, I don't know how anybody else felt about the base build, but the base build is pretty solid. It's interesting, because I'm going to be covering this as it changes as well, so we get to see each change that comes out. Like, I should be locking onto that in mid-air, but it's not allowing me to lock onto it. Like Azure said, it only lets me do it if I'm on the ground. It's a strange thing. Azure says, enemy scaling the way out what the player can research in time. After researching level 2 frames, it becomes easier. Each level of the frame has a dramatic stat increase. Yeah, one of the upgrades has like 800, I think it's either 800 or 600% increase in damage. It's weird. When do you think this will come out on console? Not yet. They were on about it being ported to the Switch ages ago and some of the other platforms, but it needs to get out of early stuff. Josh says, what's the story behind this game again? Aliens invaded and excuse me, and they're trying to take out humanity. We're fighting back using remote-controlled mechs. That's basically it. Go over the planet, clear them out, try and get rid of them and find the source of where they're coming from and get rid of that. Come on. Yeah, melee is made a little bit more awkward here now. I can't deny that. Like, the other day I was doing really good on these missions, now I'm all over the place. I want a mech like off Evangelion, says Josh. I'll try making one of those at some point. I was thinking about Ava Unit 1 or 2 the other day. It's similar to an Android game, Implosion, says Hyperion. I do like it. It's pretty cool. I just want to see where it goes and what the end result is if we get that far. No, we've got the mech customization. This is crazy. I do like it. There were people on chat the other day that were complaining about the paint schemes, or rather the way that you painted stuff. I don't quite understand what the gripe was. I didn't stick around long enough to check it out, though. It was just kind of, oh, the painting sucks, and when somebody pressed for extra information, they didn't say anything. It's like, come on, guys. Proper feedback so the devs can do what you want, you know. This is what I was on about the other day when I said, like, give proper feedback and saying something just sucks. Are you going to play Mobile Suit Gunpla Battle? Says Josh. I played it on the channel before, but the phone isn't amazing. So it's either really sort of laggy videos or, you know, just no videos at all. So I chose no videos because of how laggy the phone is. Don't think I'm going to do this one here. Like, I can still play the game, the frame rate's just choppy. The painting system could be better. Major issue is the naming convention. The fact that they could really trim down the menus and amounts of inputs needed. They'll probably do that if it ever gets to console, you know, because they're going to need to do simplified menus or whatever to do it on console. I think it might just be because I'm used to that kind of stuff in PC games. And what happened there? I killed it. It unlocked and then that was weird. So you can give the devs ideas, says Josh. Yeah. Basically, the devs go around, they look at all the streams, they respond actively to people that talk to them. So yeah, you can give them feedback, and they will listen to it. They're happily taking feedback from everybody and just being like, right, we'll implement it. You know, as is evident with this patch, where they're implementing a couple of fixes and seeing what happens, and oh my god, I got annihilated there. Close combat is really kind of not worth it when you've got a large group of enemies here. Kind of makes it more awkward with the lock-on thing. Just means that it's not a viable thing to do. You can't just sort of wade into a bunch of enemies and be like, oh yeah, this is going to work. Instead, it's just like, nope, let's whittle them down first. Then we'll use melee. Do you think they should add back cannons? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, it'd be pretty cool, but it'd be a bit too much like Armored Core then. The question being whether they're getting conflicting feedback, says Devicia. Yeah, they might be getting conflicting feedback, although they are seemingly good at sorting through all the feedback and only implementing stuff that they like, so at least the sifting through the chaff. That mech needs 2B as a pilot. Azio says, when you go to edit a scheme, you actually actively select it and select it on your mech before seeing the changes in real time. What, you mean like you can't see a preview of it, you have to actually put it on before you can do it? Because I mean, I know that takes a little bit longer for selecting stuff that way, but it's not too big a deal. If that's how I'm understanding it properly. There we go, mission failed. That's a bot there, because I just got absolutely wrecked. Right, let's see about the development here, because I've already got like 58. There's no preview for making a custom color until you actually put it on. Hang on. Like, with armor and stuff like that, with custom colors. Let's try the torso here. We'll try all of it for the moment. So if we want to do custom style here, I see what you mean. There's no sort of updating it in real time to see it before confirming it. Like if we select style, although if you select like custom style 1, and then do it. Kind of works. I see what you mean, though. It's like, there's no preview. That is an actual physical change that you've done, and you can't change that back now. Let's load that for a moment, because I need to... Wait a minute, have I just changed that permanently? Ah! No, I don't want to reset data. I really should have not messed around with that, because now I've got a suit that is the wrong color. There should be an undo button for that. Or something. Hang on. That moment where I need to do everything gunmetal grey again. I don't know if that was right, but we'll take that. I love the way Devicia caught on to my my company name there as well. So let's go back to stuff here. The Swords Off Gundam Battle Operation 2 should be put on here so that you can change style. Right, let's see. We're up to 3 here. 14. Yeah, 14,000 credits wasn't too bad for that. Development requirement. So I've got enough to develop these ones here. Those don't seem too bad. Hang on, am I even right about that? Because that looks... It doesn't tell you exactly. Like, I'm assuming the stuff on the right is what I've got. The stuff on the left is what it requires. So if I do... Yeah, what that needs ideally is some sort of thing saying, like, maybe a little bit of extended menu saying, like, look, this is how many you have, this is what it requires. Like, instead of just saying development require, actually say, like, this is what you have, this is what's required above it, or maybe make, when you've got the required amount, maybe the text goes a different color to show that, yes, you can do this. Or have, like, another little graphic that says you can now develop this. I mean, I know it's white there and you can select that. Once you've developed it, it goes orange. But in the bottom here... Oh, crap. I have to keep it hovering there. In the bottom where it says development required, it's not immediately conveyed to the player in a very simple way. It's kind of halfway there. Hey, Vermilion. I didn't actually expect you guys to come in here, like, at the moment. Moody, why are all of your suits in black in GBO too? I think I mentioned that before. It's like a reference to the British SAS because of the suits. So now Vermilion's in here. If anybody has any feedback, you can actually give feedback now. So yeah, here. This is at least me anyway. It's not immediately conveyed as to what I have already and what is required. I know it says, like, right to left there. I think it's because I'm used to reading left to right, or having something else that says, like, look, the stuff that you have, the minimum requirement, when you've met those minimum requirements, maybe change the graphics somehow so that it is very clear to players, you know, that what is going on there and that they have the requirements met to develop that stuff. Well, you did put a little exclamation mark graphic in the menu for being able to make new parts. Might be able to use that for new developments as well, says Azio. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just as long as the menu doesn't get flooded with icons. It needs to be kept simple but easy to understand. You've seen some of these requirements, people were saying, like, the requirements were a bit crazy, but it doesn't seem to be at the moment. The OS is the most expensive, I'll give it that. I don't think I can develop anything past level 3. Yeah. So if I go to level 3, then that's the maximum. These ones aren't bad either, so passive effects. The ones for Architect, for actually, like, affecting how your suit handles, they are the ones that cost the most out of everything, apart from the, I think was it the OS ones? It's a bit of a grind for them at the moment, but once you start getting them, it's not too bad. The only changes I would make to that at this point is when we first started off, I felt like it was a grind, obviously, because the player gets in and immediately just goes, what kind of cool mech can I make? The problem is, I'm there trying to grind that, and because of the way that I was trying to do, like, hard with a basic mech, obviously, the way that it's designed, you're meant to upgrade to be able to do hard and very hard. But what I was trying to do was just dive straight in and get in there and try and get all these parts on the hard difficulties. It either needs to be conveyed to the players that you might want to upgrade before trying the harder missions. Maybe a character can say that somewhere or whatever. Like, just as an off thing of, oh look, just saying, you might want to upgrade before taking on these other missions, because otherwise they're going to be hard, or something needs to be said like that, just because I don't think I saw it myself, but it only really started getting easier when I was going up here and getting, like, number 2. And of course, but I needed to, like, number 2 for cryo bullets and hitting level 2 for passive effects here, for siege frame and stuff. It only really got easier when I got to that. And just getting there, because I was farming everything like crazy, was a bit nuts. Let's try upgrading here a little bit. They should have missions that give you parts, high tier parts. They already give you parts in missions, it's just the incentive is if you do the harder missions, you get different parts. That's cool. I like the random element to it as well because it adds replayability. I don't think they should just flat out give you very specific parts. Like, for instance, you want the hammer, you shouldn't complete a mission and get the hammer immediately every single time. I like the random element. That adds a lot of replayability and pads out the gameplay in a way that doesn't feel too bad. The way that it is at the moment, I would not do anything to that. It just needs, the player needs to have the handheld a little bit to understand that if you want to take on hard or very hard, you're going to need to upgrade. You know. Azio says, one thing I noticed in this new version is I like how they cut the credit rewards for the tutorial in half. I really should have abused that more. I like that you shouldn't be able to just abuse one of the missions over and over again. Like, if I go here and see, like, maybe another thing here would, for the only thing that I would add on to this, I was thinking about this in the previous build, the thing that I would add on is the average amount that you would get as a reward for each mission, you know, points wise, somewhere, because then it would give you an idea of how much you're going to get. I know the problem with that is people will specifically go for the one that gives them the most money or can be done the quickest, but at least it would give you an idea of how much you're going to get from it. I'm not sure whether that one is one that I'd fully think about implementing. All I know is, like, the most I can get from these are from these hunting ground missions, but they take like 10 minutes, whereas I can do like some of the other ones here and get like 3,000 instead of like 6,000 to 8,000 here. Trying to think of what else. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to spend more time with this build and mess around with the controls and everything else and give a second thought on this. Because the thing is, at the moment, this is like with anything. When it changes, it's jarring. You kind of give a hot take and you try and get used to it. I have a feeling that if I have another couple more hours with this build, I get used to it, I build more suits, I try it out more, I have a feeling my opinion is going to change. So I'm going to have to spend more time with it. Azio says, you could do a tutorial on very hard in less than a minute for a 4K run. Wait, what? Josh says, you should add weapon, classic, basic, normal, etc. being the weapon, the higher the damage. Oh, so you're saying basically different weapons do different damage. Could we possibly have sub-arms or legs on the backpack to try and help our mech holding weapons or deflecting hits from enemies, says Resonance. So basically more arms to hold more things. That's a bit crazy. Maybe instead list the parts you can get on the missions, says Marcus. That would actually be good as like a sub-menu here. Like, where it says hard and mission. Maybe add a third one that says part list, and where it brings it up maybe over here on the right or something and says, like, the parts that you can get. Or even under here says, like, which parts you can get for this mission. Just so it's not cluttering up the menu, but it gives people an idea of what they can get per mission. Similar to Gundam Breaker. Gundam Breaker does that really well. Like, I'm gonna have to put my thoughts like properly into another video showing off everything here after I've spent more time with this, because this is weird. This is one of those where you try it out. There's certain changes that are done where you're like, you know. And then you wait a while and you think, oh, okay, my opinion's changed of this. Azio says, I don't think I'll ever truly get used to that lock-on. It's a bit jarring. It's weird. Anyway, thanks very much, guys, for sticking around. Thanks very much to Vermilion for dropping in again. I'll try and do a follow-up to this, where we put ideas forward, or rather I convey what's going on a little bit better. I'm going to try changing my controls, everything else. We'll see what happens. I'll see you on the next one, because there's going to be more videos of this, obviously. Until then, be sure to check out M.A.S.S Builder on Steam. It's still really good. I want to see how this changes in future. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next stream. So until then, thank you very much. Bye!